It's open season on our personal information. Another credit bureau was recently hacked, and if the last time is anything to go by, we're now at even more risk of being defrauded. A criminal armed with all your most sensitive details has many ways of stealing for you, from identity theft to sophisticated phishing attempts. What consequences do these companies that play fast and loose with our data face, and how can we prepare ourselves for another increase in data crime? Mani van Schalkwyk is the Chief Executive of the South African Fraud Prevention Service. He joins us now to weigh in. Mani, first, let's rewind to experience data breach and when they lost lots of people's information. What's happened in the aftermath of that? What have we seen happen in terms of fraud and crime?
Well, it was a quite significant data breach as well. I think over 20 million consumers' data were compromised at the time, and we saw a significant increase at SAFPS, which is a non-profit organization, but we saw an increase of more than 300% in impersonation. I'm not 100% convinced it was the only factor that contributed to that. There were also two big scams at the time, is to say, how do you come and get your COVID grant and fill in the information to apply for your payment holiday. So those three events, at least, then contributed to more than 300% of impersonation. And that is where the fraudsters are trying to open accounts in your name or trying to take over an account which is in your name.
Mani, so do we know or can we predict whether we're going to see an uptick in identity theft and fraud after this data breach?
Yes, I think we can expect definitely the increase of impersonation, but keep in mind that people, these thieves who steal the data, they don't necessarily always have all the data. So what we can expect as consumers is that we will get calls from your so-called bank and wanting to get more information. So they're very clever in how they position that. They would actually contact you and offer some information, and this is the information that they stole. So they'll say, Mr. van Schalkwyk, this is where you live, and this is your telephone number, and this is your email address. And I'm phoning from Absa Bank, and there's a big debit order that is going to go off onto your account. Should we stop it? And then they will start phishing, because we're providing information. They put you at ease that they are phoning from the bank, and they're wanting to help. And then they ask for information. So, and that is when if we offer that information, which we will become a total target of impersonation. So if you get any calls to ask for personal information or to confirm or to click on links or to any of those, you don't do it. That will be providing them the full batch of information that they need to open accounts in your name and or take over your accounts.
Mani, what alarms me is that if someone impersonates you, steals your identity, or they go and open accounts in your name and rack up huge amounts of debt, you are still liable for it. You're to blame. So how do we prevent ourselves from becoming victims? How do I know if my data was breached in this latest data breach?
Yeah, I think there are a couple of things to do. The first thing is, as I said, SAFPS is a non-profit organization, and we've got this product called Protective Registration. It's a free product to consumers, and it's powered by our digital partner called Secure Citizen. And you go to our website, safps.org.za, with your smartphone, click on Protective Registration, and through a few steps, you will add a layer of protection on your identity. So when you apply for credit at a credit provider, we will provide them with a notification to say there is additional protection on your identity. They will temporarily pause the credit process to do more validations, and that validations can be various things, but they will do more validations. And when it's been the fraudster who's trying to use your information to apply, that validations will kick the fraudster out. So I think that is in my mind, one of the strongest protection consumers can do for themselves. It's free of charge, as I said, at safbs.org.za.
Mani, before I say goodbye, what consequences do these companies face when there's a breach of data? Does anything happen to them? Because, it seems to me, anecdotally, that they're not doing much to protect our data.
There is a regulator for the protection of personal information, and I'm sure they will deal with this as it needs to be driven. And I think this is the first large data breach that we are seeing after the regulator got their powers. So I think everybody is waiting with bated breath to see what the regulator will do. But I do think they will deal with it appropriately.
All right, Mani, thanks a lot for your time. We appreciate it. Mani van Schalkwyk from the SA Fraud Prevention Service.